What up YouTube, Tony Wilson here, and I just wanted to provide an update to the X51 R2 video that I did about 2 years ago. In that video I put a reference version of the GTX 970 PNY card into the system, and I had phenomenal results. So in that time frame, since it's been a while between the first video and now, a lot of things have happened. Career, had a kid, family life, marriage, everything's going well, just been really busy. So I wasn't able to produce a lot of YouTube content at that point in time in my life. Now I'm at a point where I can devote more time to producing YouTube content, and this is actually the first video that I'm using to kind of bounce back. So as you can see, my X51 R2 looks a little bit different. I transplanted it into a new case, and I transplanted it into a Fractal Design Nano S case, mini ITX case. The reason that I did that is that I upgraded from the GTX 970 to a GTX 1070 after seeing the specs and seeing the performance. I decided to make the leap, to make the upgrade, and I couldn't be happier. So just a little bit about the upgrade and the reason why. I initially put the MSI GTX 1070 reference version card into the X51 R2 case, and immediately I had loud fan noise. It was horrendous. It sounded like a jet engine was on my desk. Like at any moment I was just waiting on the X51 R2 to just like take off and like shoot through the wall like a missile. So for me, I couldn't deal with it, so I just started looking for anything that I could do to kind of decrease the fan noise. I was running MSI Afterburner, and I had to run a really aggressive fan curve in order to keep the temperatures to a stable level. In the X51 R2 case, my GPU temps were reaching 83, and that was like minimal load. You know what I mean? Like a simple game such as you know, just like Call of Duty Black Ops, you know, like it was just really loud, and the temperatures were getting really high really quickly. And at idle, I mean, my temperatures were sitting around 50 to begin with, which I found concerning because with the GTX 970, my idle temperatures were still running about like 30 high 30s to 40s. So I just found that concerning, and I was thinking like, well, you know, I can't do anything in terms of cooling with the GPU except attaching, cutting a hole in the X51 R2 case and putting an external fan to kind of like vent air out or pull more air in, since it's a reference card. So instead of doing that, I just decided to scour the internet, you know, look for cooling mods, and you know, I just cracked open the X51 case and just kind of looked at it and was like, yo, this is a mini ITX motherboard, so why not put it into a mini ITX case? So upon doing that, of course, I could get rid of the power brick and the power board and the INO front board, so I wouldn't need 3 motherboards. I could just use the ITX board motherboard that comes with the X51 R2. So it was a really cheap upgrade, and I paired it with an Asus MG248Q 144 Hz gaming monitor, which is a fantastic combination. Gaming in 1080p is fantastic. I'm actually going to post a few clips of, actually in this video, I'm going to post a few clips of me playing Titanfall 2 multiplayer and just letting you guys see the frame rate and how the system performs. I'm also going to post a quick snippet of the benchmarks. I used Unigine Heavenly benchmark program to do the benchmark for the system, and I got phenomenal results. So back to the system. It was a really cheap upgrade. The case itself, it actually has a side glass panel, which I'm gonna put on in a second. But the case itself was about $45 on sale. I paired it with a Corsair CX550M 550 watt power supply. And I think altogether, total upgrade, not counting the card, the GPU, it only cost me $100 or so, no more than $120. And I figured if I'm gonna get a new system or build a new system, it would cost me way more than $120. You know, even salvaging, you know, parts from the X51 R2. So, like I said, it was a really cheap upgrade. Didn't cost me much at all. And in fact, the X51 R2, parting it out after I took the motherboard, it actually paid for the upgrades itself. I was able to sell the power brick, the INO board, the power board, the mini fans, the Blu-ray drive. This case does not have a spot for a drive, and quite frankly, I haven't used any type of physical media in regards to a CD, DVD, or Blu-ray drive in years. So for me, I was able to forego having a Blu-ray drive. It wasn't important to me. So I was able to sell all those parts on eBay and get a nice return. So I broke even. I actually made a little bit more, you know, parting out the case. Taking further look at the case. Let me adjust my camera here. I'm going to take you to the back of the case. Well, let's first take a look at the inside of the case. Inside the case, I'm sorry, that is my tripod tipping over. So inside the case, I've got 16 gigs of RAM. The case allows for the mounting of two solid state drives behind the motherboard and mounting of a solid state drive and or CPU cooler reservoir in this little side panel where you see the PNY SSD. And behind the PNY SSD is a mounting bracket for a 3.5 inch hard drive as well. The X51 motherboard only has 3 SATA slots, so I was kind of limited. I wasn't able to add the 4th SSD. So right now I have 3 SSDs, one behind the motherboard, the PNY you see here, and the PCIe Express slot, mini PCIe Express slot that you see right under the stock cooler. I took out the Wi-Fi card because, of course, I'm gaming, so I'm running a wire connection, and replaced it with an Msata SSD that I had laying around, a 120 gig Samsung Msata that was removed from a previous build that I had, and this was just laying around, so I figured why not, I'll try it out, and it works. So I have the operating system on the Msata. I have an SSD behind the motherboard, this PNY SSD, and a 4 terabyte hard disk drive mounted behind the PNY SSD. So I have plenty of storage. Why do I have so many drives? This was a cheap build and I had stuff laying around, and I did it because I could. I just wanted to see what I could do. I wanted to extend the life of my X51, and for me it really worked out perfectly. It worked out great. I'm enjoying the system. I know that I can upgrade to a newer card in the future if I should choose to do so, but right now the GTX 1070 gaming at 1080p, it's perfect, and especially when paired with a 144 hertz monitor, absolutely perfect. No complaints whatsoever. So if you're thinking about doing this or making any kind of changes to the system, you know, besides adding a new video card, if you're thinking about transplanting the components into a new case, it's very easy, very simple. It's a mini ITX board. One thing that I wanted to note is that it does not have a rear INO shield, and the reason being is that the rear INO shield for the X51 is built into the system itself. So I had to order one off of eBay, a do-it-yourself INO board, and use the laminate sticker that covers the rear INO shield on the X51 R2 case. I pried that off with some pliers, put it on this do-it-yourself INO board, and used the Dremel to basically use the laminate sticker as a stencil and cut out the holes, and it lined up perfectly, matched perfectly. So I am going to take you around to the rear of the X51, and as you can see, I took the laminate sticker and put it onto the board, and like I said, used the Dremel, cut out the holes, and lined it up. And there you go. I had an INO shield made, and that just helped with keeping dust out of the system. I did run the system for a few days without it and just noticed that a lot of dust was coming in through the back of the system. So this has really kept the dust out, kept the system really clean, and just improved. You know, for me, I'm a perfectionist, so for me, just knowing that that gap was back there was just like wreaking havoc in my mind. So I had to do something. The case is actually a really good deal in my opinion. It comes with two fans, 140 millimeter fan for intake and 120 millimeter fan for exhaust. I actually purchased two NZXT fans because they were a good deal, and since it's got a glass panel, I didn't want to go light crazy, so I just figured two fans would provide enough light in the case to kind of see the components. Not that they're really fancy or anything. It's, you know, it's a Dell motherboard, so it's nothing to really gawk at. But also, you know, I got my GPU lighting up, so I, you know, just wanted to see that as well. Anyway, now that I finished my rant, I've enjoyed the system and just making this upgrade. Like I said, it was really easy. It wasn't hard at all, and it gave me a lot of benefits in terms of airflow. As you can hear, the system is whisper quiet, even under load, and my temperatures are now normal. At idle, you know, 30 degrees, 30 to 35 degrees, and under load, the computer itself, you know, the GPU is probably, I think the highest temps I've seen have been 70-ish or so, and that's consistent. So I am thrilled with this upgrade. If you're thinking about doing it, it's really, really easy. If you've got the time. I mean, if you're into building, it's really, really, really easy. If not, don't do it. You don't want to mess up your system. But aesthetically, the Alienware X51 case, you know, you can't beat it in terms of size, sleekness, and just the overall small footprint. This case itself is not that big. However, it is still substantially bigger than the X51 R2 original case. But for me, it's not a problem because, again, it still has a small footprint, doesn't take up too much space, and it allows me to not be confined by the power supply, the 330 watt power supply. I know now I don't have to worry about any power supply, you know, any power constraints on the card, no bottlenecking or anything like that. So you know, for me, it's been a really good upgrade. So just something to think about if you're looking at making upgrades or changes to your X51 system. And like I said earlier in the video, I am going to kind of lead you guys into seeing the benchmarks and some gameplay with Titanfall 2. So here we go. So this is running the benchmark.
Remnant Fleet forces. Remnant Fleet reinforcements inbound.